Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Empress Room, the Empress Study Room, of course. I'm getting my sage set up. I always got to welcome the ancestors, the spirits, God, universe, your guides. Everybody has different names. But I'm going to be discussing Chapter 2 of The Master Key to Riches by Napoleon Hill. I really like this book. You know, I ain't throwing stuff on myself. But I really like this book. Things that I already know, it confirms, you know. Let's get there. Y'all know I love my Tibetan bowl. Ooh, I love the way this feels, y'all. Okay, so I got it smelling good in here. Got my music spa vibes going. So the book that I was referring to, I did chapter 1, last week I think? Master Key to Riches by Napoleon Hill. This is a good book. And it's not talking about money riches, but more so like, the riches of your character. So the second chapter, it discusses 12 riches of life when it comes to your character. And how you, your character and how you use it out there in the mainstream world. You know what I'm saying? I decided to break up the two books. The other one was How to Win Friends and Influence People. I was doing both chapters at the same time, but I think I might, go back and forth. I'll let y'all know. Depends on how short the chapters are. So, the first, oh, he told me that hold on, y'all. Using someone's phone number, my commercials is popping through. Their bank accounts. I have it on Spotify, so y'all know how them commercials pop up. So the very first riches was the positive mental attitude. One of the main riches of your character that needs to be placed into effect, to gain what you need to gain. Law of attraction, things like that. So with these master keys to your richness and character, you gain the success you wish to gain out in the physical world. So the first one was positive mental attitude. And when it's talking about positive mental attitude, it starts with your state of mind. If your state of mind is low, your vibrations are low, that's the only thing that you're going to attract. That's what we call poorness. Your characteristics in that lower state. So it speaks on the Creator provided man with control over nothing except the power to shape his own thoughts and the privilege of fitting them to any part of their life. Just like when it's said that God gave us the power of will, so to say. Well, your will is your state of mind. Which is kind of why I say God and Satan works hand in hand. Those who are religious might not understand. But at the end of the day, God and Satan work hand in hand. There are two different personalities and aspects of yourself. Your higher self and your lower self. But you have the will and the thought power and the mental state of mind to create or conjure either one of those two energies or entities. So that is what the Creator gave the man or gave us the power to do. That's up to us. So we can't blame the next man for why we feel a certain type of way. That's your fault. Just to let you know, you can't get mad at little Tom, Dick, and Harry. Okay? And blame things on them, because at the end of the day, it's all about your state of mind. If your state of mind isn't bothered or irritated or emotionally involved in what something or somebody else just said, and you just, You let it fall off your shoulder and you keep it moving, you keep it pushing. That is a positive state of mind. You ain't worried about the small things because there's bigger things out there. Mental attitude is important because it converts the brain into the equivalent of an electromagnetic. Y'all gonna have to excuse me periodically because I'm doing this on my phone, so that's the reason why it keeps dinging every now and then. Mental attitude is important because it converts the brain into the equivalent of an electromagnet, which attracts the counterpart of one's dominating thoughts, aim, and purpose. Positive mental attitude is the starting point of all riches, whether it be material nature or intangible riches. Intangible riches being more on your, your spirit, your mental, things like that. And you can conjure with that, your physical riches and material. So positive attitude is the number one of richness in self. So your second riches of life goes to sound physical health. And I'll be trying to tell people about physical health and things like that and why it's better to eat healthy or better to be vegetarian and things like that. Because it adds to the well-being of the cells in your body. If your cells are dry and your cells are not getting not getting the hydration it needs, the light sources that it needs, because your body works like a battery. So if it's not getting what it needs to fuel itself, then there's certain things that you'll overlook, certain knowledge that you'll overlook. Knowledge is power. Without a good health consciousness of vibe in your mind, and without the decalcification process of your third eye, then you're constantly, going into an ill state, a dis-ease. I got that from this book that I was reading, and it's talking about, not even a book, one of my tarot cards. And it talks about disease being the dis-ease of the mind and the mental state. So when your mental state is at a not in a comfort place or an ease type of flow, then you're conjuring up diseases and illnesses and things like that. Your mind plays a big part on your body and everything else after that. People be thinking they mentally ill and all this other stuff. No. Check yourself. Check your vibration. Check your environment. Check who you're around. Don't be getting stirred up over foolishness. Because once you start getting stirred up over foolishness, you are damning your own body, mental health, and things like that. Y'all taking all these over-the-counter medicines? It doesn't work. It makes things worse. You think that it's doing something, but you ain't doing nothing but getting sicker because your body is thirsting for natural light source, plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts. That is something that the sun is giving natural light energy to. Your cells, just like a sponge, when you leave the sponge out and it starts drying up and shriveling up and whatnot, that is what your cells in your body is doing when you're not giving it what it needs. Keep that in mind. So it says, this is why eating healthy is important to decalcify the third eye or pineal gland. In the Bible, those who are religious, they also hint and talk about the pineal gland in your third eye. And it's actually represented in your brain. It's back in the back somewhere, back in the brain. And it helps with your third eye. Third eye is being what your two physical eyes can't see, the third one can see. And it's basically based off of feeling and intuition. That's how some people get visions. So, again, like I was saying, those who are religious, when it's talking about Jacob, and Jacob was talking about how he was having these technical difficulties with his temple of pineal. The temple of pineal is he talking about his mind. And he can't reach God consciousness without going through the temple of pineal. So you aren't able to talk to God or your God consciousness or any of that if your pineal gland is calcified. And the way it's calcified, because your pineal gland is a spongy gland. Once you start feeding it BS, always being in front of TVs, electronics, not giving it enough sunlight, not giving it enough moonlight, not grounding yourself to nature, not giving yourself enough water, you are calcifying your pineal gland. You can't blame nobody else because there's too much knowledge out here in the world for you to sit here and blame the elites or blame white men or all this other stuff. Things that people be wanting to blame on. You can't blame them. Blame yourself for your foolishness. And that is one of the main things that I am learning from this book, Master Key to Riches, is the fact that you can't put blame on other people, especially when the fault is you. Take responsibility of you. Because ain't nobody forcing food down your mouth that you know you shouldn't be eating. Ain't nobody, forcing you to be dealing with certain environments. That's your choice. Everybody has a choice. Then it talked about healthy eating and exercise gives fresh oxygen to the brain and body, which creates a stable flow of positive energy to relax and calm all negative thoughts and emotions. I have taken it upon myself to work out every day. I work out every morning between 1 to 2 hours. That's not necessarily what you got to do, but that's what I do. It calms your energy. It calms your thought process. It brings everything in harmony within the body. You ain't got time to worry and fret over nonsense when you just did, this 2-hour workout. You're tired. You had ease. Your body's just like, it humbles itself. So, working out, eating healthy, becoming health conscious, and your spirit as well as your physical is something detrimental to everyone. I feel like humanity would be probably a lot better off if they realize how alike we are and the things that we are doing to keep ourselves from spiritual growth and becoming one. Because, like I said, can't blame the next man. The third thing or riches is harmony in human relationships. Harmony begins with self. So we can't be harmonic or be humble to somebody else when we're not humble on the inside. If you an asshole, you're going to attract that asshole vibe. You know what I'm saying? If you want to cut up and you don't have a stabilization, or you can't be positive, and you can't be humble, you can't expect to get that same energy back, because that's not what you're given. If you are not in love with yourself, then you will not be able to love others. Your doubts become the prejudgment of others. To heal within brings the peace to humanity. Elevate your self-worth elevate your self-worth, and you're less affected by ignorance because your own self-value protects you. So when you are, something else that I've been learning, the more I elevate myself and the more I love myself, the less I look for appreciation from other people. I'm not worried about how people perceive me, how people look at me, whether they appreciate me or not, whether, I stepped on toes. I'm not worried about that when I love myself genuinely, to the point where I understand why certain people do what they do. I understand humanity better, and the pride and the vanity and different emotions that they go through, because I went through it and I was able to calm the storm. And in order to teach somebody else that, you have to move and show by your own actions. Talk is cheap. The fourth rich is the freedom from fear. And that is what, is going on in this world. Everybody is scared, running in fear, all this other stuff. You can easily cancel fear. Once you cancel fear in your perception of life, everything else starts to change, which is why freedom from fear is richness, so to say. No man who fears anything is a free man. You will never be free if you are fearing everything. That's why taking risk is important. And taking risk is something that you have to jump and do. Not taking risk dumbly, because, the ancestors still give you, or God or the universe still give you signs if you're paying attention, or your pineal gland is open, your third eye is open. You know what chances to take and when to take them. If not, that means something is wrong with your frequency. People are living in constant fear, manifesting their own pains, their own sorrows, and causing a cage of stagnation. Fear brings evil intent and cancels out the positive mindset. Love of self can cancel out fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear doesn't mean that it exists. It's something that you done conjured, you manifested in your depth of thought, or, something like that. And you created it. If you didn't create it, somebody else created it. Either way, because that fear vibration is out there and you're thriving on that fear, you are condemning yourself to no growth. Spiritually, successfully, any of that. Seven fears. There are seven fears, and they are poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, loss of liberty, old age, and death. These fears we have to cancel. Poverty. What I feel about poverty is there is certain areas and certain places over the world where those who have materialistically nothing are some of the happiest people because they know how to maneuver or love what they have. Even if it may be a little bit, they love it. So that's why poverty should not be a real fear when at the end of the day you accept and you love where you are, what you have, and things like that. You create your own happiness. When it comes to criticism, what is there to fear about criticism? Criticism is just that, criticism. Ain't nobody got a gun to your head, ain't nothing like that. It's words. Either you can accept it or you don't have to accept it. But there ain't nothing to fear. That is a false sense that you placed on yourself. When it comes to ill health comes from fear. Because you're fearing it so much, you're causing it. Versus if you was to say, you know what, I'm not sick. I'm not sick. I'm not, I don't need no medicines. I don't need this, that, and the third. You are speaking law of attraction. You're speaking yourself into good health. But if you're constantly thinking that your health isn't good, then it's constantly going to get worse. So that's, again, a fear that you conjured to yourself. Loss of love. Love can come and go. There's different frequencies and vibrations of love. Y'all should know that by now. The love of your family is not the love of your significant other or anything like that as a friend. There's different levels of love. Love come and go, but that still shouldn't be a fear of that loss. Because in one loss of love, you can gain a love somewhere else. Change your perception, people. The more you change your perception and how you see and view life, the more things changes with you. Loss of liberty, old age, and death. Why are we fearing that? Death conjures up new beginnings and new growth. Old age. What is old age? The older I get, the more youthful I'm feeling. So people, let's go. The fifth rich is the hope of achievement. When you have a future that you see yourself at and you have that drive and determination to go for that achievement, that is that hope of achievement. Because of that hope for achievement, that is a richness that you've just created in your character. Because you're pushing, you're driving, you're getting it done. Without hope for the future, you deny growth in the present. Greatest of all forms of happiness comes as the result of hope, of achievement of some yet unattained desire. You need the thought or vision of the person you wish to become before you can attain your desires. If you speak down on yourself and your future, then you will create that which you envisioned. So if I'm creating or I see that future me, and the future me that I see is a matriarch, I'm going to be that future woman where they come to me for advice. My family come to me for advice. I'm able to give my advice, humbly, without aggression, softness, but sternness. That feeling of we can get it done, you can get it done, raise yourself, elevate yourself. The person I see in the future is no one I see now. It's just I see stages and growing. Everybody has stages and growing, which is why we can't condemn somebody else because they are in a stage. You can't condemn who you are. You are in a stage. Relax. Calm down. The more we relax, the more richness we can gain. The more you meditate, the more you focus, the more you flow. The world has got people in a constant movement. The world has people just going. And then people wonder why, you're so sick all the time. You wonder why you ain't got no time to yourself. Because you're constantly moving. Relax. Slow down. Okay? Take some time out for yourself. Meditate. Do a spiritual bath. Do some grounding outside. Things like that. The capacity for faith is the sixth riches. The capacity for faith. And this doesn't have to do with religion. But more so everything to do with faith in yourself. Having faith in yourself to keep it pushing, keep, being determined, keep positive, optimistic mood, being able to push through the storm. Storm don't last always. So the more you have that faith in yourself, the more of success you will gain. Don't let nobody deter you from your faith. Don't let nobody keep you from getting where you need to get. You know what you need to do. Do it. Stop talking about it. Get it done. Have faith in yourself. If you don't have faith in yourself, you don't have love in yourself. If you don't have love in yourself, you don't trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself, that is no way in form. There's no way in, shape, form, or fashion you're going to be able to conjure and create the life that you want for yourself. You're not going to be able to connect with people the way you want to connect with them because you don't even trust yourself. You can't trust the help of anybody else. You can't trust anyone else because you don't know how to trust yourself. You second guess every little move that you make. You got to have more faith in yourself because that's definitely one of the elixirs to life. Faith is a spiritual chemical reaction and gives the individual direct and immediate connection with infinite intelligence. Faith changes ordinary energy of thought into spiritual power. So when you have faith in self, you're creating a strong spiritual power that's going to push you so much faster to where you're trying to get. The seventh richness is willingness to share one's blessing. You can't climb the ladder without having your other hand down to help somebody up. That's how humanity works. That's how, being human works. Otherwise, you're just being robotic. And you're just worried about yourself. And that comes to selfishness, not self-love. So if I'm climbing the ladder, somebody had to help me get up. So I got to reach up there to get that hand. But I also got to have the other hand down to help bring up somebody else as I'm moving. That way, everybody is moving together. That is how you change the generations to come. That is how we get out of a rut. That is how we get over slavery. That's how we get over blaming other people. We get over it by making moves together as one. Some of y'all ain't listening, but you need to listen. It takes a village to get change happening. So, true happiness comes only by sharing, one of nature's first laws. Inaction and disuse leads to decay and death, which applies to material possessions as it applies to the living cells of the body. Which is why people are easily getting sick because their cellular bodies have not been used. Your cellular body, your frequency that you're on, all of that, if you're not using it and you're not sharing this energy, then it will decay. You will age faster. You will be getting sicker because you're not doing what you need to do to let your cells and your energy and things like that be shared with everybody else. You have to share it. You have to share it. Share your blessings. By sharing your blessings, you gain more blessings. You have to give in order to receive. The eighth richness is labor of love. Labor is the highest form of human expression of desire. Labor is the liaison between the demand and the supply of all human needs and the forerunner of all human progress, the medium by which the imagination of man is given wings of action. There is no richer man than he who has found a labor of love and who is busily engaged in performing it. All labor of love is sanctified because it brings the joy of self-expression to him who performs it. So by me showing my labor of love or giving my labor of love to somebody else and that feeling of, okay, you're helping someone. They appreciate it. It's getting done. Even if they're not appreciative of it, you should feel in yourself, you should feel grateful that you was able to give that labor of love. Without that labor of love, you are condemning your own temple. You know what I'm saying? Keep that in mind. The ninth one is an open mind on all subjects. Let me tell you what is the worst. What is the worst is coming across somebody who is so closed-minded that they can't make changes. Just because you grew up one way does not mean it's the right way. Times are changing, things are changing, ideas, perceptions, philosophies are changing. The only thing that is constant is self. Knowing that you are what dictates you. To have an open mind on all subjects opens you up for gaining of knowledge. Knowledge is power. So the more you're opened up to different subjects, get out of that fear state. Fear does not exist. I know some people who are religious and they be like, I can't dive into that because that's against my religion. Cut out the bull, people. Cut it out. Don't let religion dictate who you are. Have faith that even outside of that, you will still be protected. That's all it is. That's all it is. Tolerance is among the higher attributes, expressed only by the person who holds the open mind on all subjects at all times. A man with an open mind becomes truly an educated man, which prepares the individual for greater riches of life. I hope y'all heard that. I felt it and I was getting ready to shout and stuff, but I'm going to keep myself calm and collected, okay? Because I've been coming through this transformation myself, and I'm noticing a lot of different changes, a lot of different things happening in my life, and I am supremely grateful, okay? Supremely. The 10th one is self-discipline. A lot of people lack self-discipline, especially when they start getting in their emotions, fearing things that they created. And then they lose all self-discipline and all control. People be like, I have control over my life. If you had control over your life, certain aspects in your life would not be chaotic. Your emotions would not be chaotic. Your thought process would not be chaotic if you understood and you had self-discipline. You wouldn't have an overabundance of aggression if you had self-discipline. I know y'all ain't hearing me out there. But if you had self-discipline, a lot of things in your psyche when it comes to dealing with other people would be overlooked because you ain't worried about their nonsense. There is no success without self-discipline and control over one's own thought. Highest form of self-discipline consists in the expression of humility of the heart. If your heart ain't clear, your heart ain't open, the highest form of self-discipline is when your heart is open and accepting and loving. Being able to accept people in their faults. That is self-discipline. That is self-control. That is loving yourself and loving everybody else. And I be coming across a lot of people and they be like, I have self-discipline or I have control and all this other stuff. But you get mad over the simplest things. If you think that that's what your control and your self-discipline portrays in yourself, let's do better. That's all I can say. Do better. The more we do better, the more we can grow with everybody else. 11, the 11th richness, the capacity to understand people. A lot of people don't understand each other because they're too busy in their own world being selfish. I realized about that for myself. I swore up and down, I can understand everybody else and things like that. And truth be told, I do understand people. But when your own emotions are in the way and it gets to that point where now it's selfishness, then I feel my attitude or my anger and my frustration coming out to the next person. You wouldn't be frustrated and angry at the next person if you understood people. And this is what I mean by that. The man who is rich in the understanding of people always recognizes that all people are fundamentally alike and that they have evolved from the same stem. Everybody come from the same tree, the same stem, the same energy, the same frequency, the same creator, the same universal, spirit, so to say. We all come from the same. Just because your skin might be white, my skin might be black, vice versa, don't mean you ain't the same as me. Which is why all of this getting hyped up on race, that does not matter. That does not matter. Racial war is ridiculous. It's stupid. Okay? Why am I hating the next man because he's white? That's dumb as hell. Let's level up. Get to your fifth dimension. Why are you hating this next religion when at the end of the day it is their faith? Let them have their faith just like you got yours. What are you mad at? Because they don't believe in the same thing as you? Grow up. That was the past. This is now. Let's get it together. The 9 basic motives of life that all of humanity deals with are emotions of love, emotions of sex, the desire for material gain, the desire for self-preservation, the desire for freedom of body and mind, the desire for self-expression, the desire for perpetuation of life after death, the emotion of anger, and the emotion of fear. Those are all the same exact likenesses that we all have with each other. All of them are the same. And if you understood that, which comes with understanding that of people, then there's no reason to be getting mad at the next person. No reason at all. Because it's probably self-preservation. They're probably doing the same thing you're doing and everything else. It's all about, that's why I said again, it goes to loving yourself, controlling certain aspects of your emotions, energy and motion. The man who understands others must first understand himself. The capacity to understand others eliminates many of the common causes of friction between people. Basis to harmony, cooperation, and friendship. You can gain a whole lot more cooperation with people when you understand people. Which is why I said something that trips me out about the Black conscious community is the fact that they'd be like, you can only worry about Black people. That's dumb as hell to me. That makes absolutely no sense to me. How can you only worry about Black people when Black people are all one with everybody else and all other races and cultures of people? At the end of the day, they are us and we are them. So you're going to need everyone's cooperation. Everyone's cooperation. And in order to accept everybody else's cooperation, you got to get off of your high and mighty pedestal, get your foot out your behind, and understand you are only as strong as your weakest link. If the weakest link in humanity is at its weakest, that is where the most dominant mind state is also at. They work hand in hand. If you ain't helped the weak ones, then you are not strong. You're just sitting out here marching by yourself. You need cooperation from everybody else. Get it understood. The 12th last one is economic security. Economic security is not attained by the possession of money alone. It is attained by the service one renders. For useful service may be converted into all forms of human needs with or without the use of money. That can come into trade, whether it be, me sharing my knowledge with you for, who's to say if I needed some material to make clothing. You may have this, I may have the other. That is an economic security by being able to change one service for the other, being able to be secure in certain, realities things like that. Simple. Let's make it simple. So those are the 12, what chapter 2 was talking about in the Master Key to Riches. Those are your 12 riches. Without those 12 riches, you do not gain the success that you're looking for. And most of those who are famous and most of those who have climbed the ladder to success had to use some of these keys to riches, to help them get up there. So that's what I wanted to share with y'all this afternoon. I hope y'all take that and practice on that and use that out there. Make it a lifestyle. Humble yourself. When you humble yourself and you love yourself and you give respect to yourself, you are able to humble yourself out here in the world with everybody else. And you will see people starting to cooperate more with you. They won't cooperate with you when you just see yourself better than everybody else or you just being a victim all the time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Grow up. We going to the golden age, baby. Let's level up. With that being said, that's all I had to say this evening. I'll probably come back on Monday. Yeah, I might do Monday. I don't know because I got stuff to do over the weekend. So that's when y'all will see me back. I hope everybody has a fantabulous weekend. Love. Namaste. I wish y'all the best. Y'all like, subscribe, all that good stuff to my channel, YouTube channel. I also place this on Facebook too. So yeah, there's that. Love you all. Mwah.